one target in life. The one target this fly had in its life, the one thing it was told it had to do was to constantly seek out and head for the light. So this fly was buzzing as hard as it could against this window pane. It was doing everything in its power to achieve its objective. So it couldn't be accused of not trying hard enough. In fact, it was trying so hard that it could end up killing itself right there on the windowsill. So, there it was, trying its hardest to achieve its target. However, in this same room, 10 feet away, if the fly had had the space and the time just to stop buzzing for 1 minute and been able to reflect on the question, is there another way? Within 10 seconds of flying time, this fly could have reached the door that was open at the far end of the room. And as a result, within 10 seconds of flying time, it could have achieved its target. And I would urge every educator everywhere in the world right now to remember that what we mustn't do straight away is leap into what is the new strategy, what is the new system. How do we do it now then? I think the greatest gift we can bestow on educators and therefore on children is the gift of time. It's why for me this event over these few days is so special, so unique, so important, particularly in Spain and for Spanish education right now. What I urge you is not to immediately look at what the answer is. What's the outcome? So how do we do it differently? What I urge you to do is to say, actually, we must go away from here. We must go back to our schools and our colleges and our universities and the settings we've come from. And rather than talking about, so what does it look like and how do we do it now? You need to have time to have conversations. You need to have conversations about the big questions. And the first question I'd ask you to take back to your school or your college or your university is this one. What is our moral purpose? What are we here for? Why do we do what we do? And as I've said already, and as I know many of the speakers yesterday would have said, I feel passionately that actually our educators is not to serve political agendas. It's not even to achieve exam results. Our job is to prepare our children for their futures, isn't it? To do so in exciting ways, in dynamic ways. But most importantly, I come back to that term. The job of an educator, I believe, is to empower the children in our care so that as they grow older, they can become active and powerful citizens. You see, my worry with children like Clint is because the system is so closed down. You know, we talk a lot about the legacy for our children. And the legacy we're leaving our children is a very scary one, don't you think? We have at least 3 major global crises that we have created through our traditional way of being educated and the way our societies have been governed. And those 3 great crises have led to what? We have a global environmental crisis. We have a global economic crisis. We have global crisis around socio-ethnicity and strife. And that's the legacy we're going to be passing on to our children. Now, if what we do is we continue to educate our children in the way we've always been educated ourselves, they're never going to find the solutions to those global problems, are they? So we have to educate them differently to deal with the problems of our making. And the other thought I have is this: I believe there's a 4th great crisis. And that 4th great crisis is the squandering of human resources. We talk about environmental waste, but I think to an extent what we're doing is wasting immense human potential. Children like Clint would have gone through his schooling, wouldn't he? Being told he was daft, he was stupid, he didn't listen. And therefore, at some point in his education, he would consider himself to be a failure. and would leave education feeling he couldn't do anything. Yet, isn't Clint the kind of person you'd want with his eloquence, with his insight into the way the world works as a 9-year-old? Can you imagine if we nurtured that talent and that understanding, where that young person could be at 16, at 18, at 21, in terms of really comprehending the issues and the problems we face? And how are we going to design an education system to make sure that Clint and the millions of children like him come out of the system understanding their potential and their talent, and that they feel nourished by what it is we bestow on them as educators? Ooh. The other thing, and I know Mark will have touched on this yesterday, I know that Gareth will have talked about this yesterday, and probably all of the other speakers we've had. The world, as I've said, we know is changing. We know this. But one of the big things I think we need to consider when we're talking about the future of education are, who are our customers? Our customers are our children, aren't they? And whether we like it or not, they are quite possibly the most sophisticated generation of children the world has ever created, for all of the technical advance, because of their exposure to media and information. I'm not saying they understand and comprehend, and a lot of knowledge can be a dangerous thing sometimes, but they certainly have access, don't they? And I want to share with you one example of the challenge I think we face, therefore, as educators. And forgive me, because there will be people in this room who know a lot more about this than I do. I have a teenage daughter at home. How many of you have, or have had, have lived through, have survived having a teenager at home? Can you just show me if you have? Right, that's why you're here on a Saturday morning, right? It's why I'm here. It's why I travel now. I have a teenage daughter at home. Why stay any longer? Now, my teenage daughter is, she's wonderful. And I can say that because I haven't seen her for a week. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, I believe. A few weeks ago, in fact, just before the school summer holidays, I went to my daughter's first secondary parents' evening. Do you have parents' evening here where the parents come in and meet you and talk about children's progress? So I was going to an evening where I was talking to the teachers about progress my daughter was making in school. And it was the first time I'd been, you see, because I'd been so busy traveling that I'd missed the previous parents' evenings. And this time I was determined to go. And a week before the parent evening, my wife said to me, "Do you want to come to Bethany's parents' evening?" And I said, "Yes, I want to come." And she said, "You won't like it."